Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Iti Namine Prema Bhakti Rasanandam Kripa Sindhu Mamananam Pragyapayandam Vande Sri Bhakti Vedanta Narayanam. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhaktya Vihina Parada Lakshay Kshiptascha Kamadhitaranga Madhye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Numaste Charanarvindam. So we are continuing Shri Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 34 today. Pantastu koti shatavatsara sambrangamyo vayo ratapi manaso munipongavanam sopyasti yat prapaddasimnya vichantya tattve govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Some yogis, desiring to attain the supreme absolute truth who lies beyond the realm of contemplation, follow the path of strictly regulating the breathing process. The prominent sages who advocate the philosophy of the formless absolute follow the path of philosophical discussion to ascertain the formless, impersonal Brahman by the process of gradually eliminating the unreal. After pursuing these paths for hundreds of millions of years, they may reach only as far as the tips of the toes of his lotus feet. I worship that original personality, Shri Govinda. Translation of Tika by Srila Jiva Goswami Pad. The advocates of the impersonal conception may, after performing rigorous sadhana for billions of years, reach only as far as the tips of the toes of Sri Krishna's lotus feet. The purport is that at best, they can only achieve perception of the light emanating from his divine lotus feet from very far away. It is absolutely impossible for them to see Sri Govinda being served by his associates in Gokul. So there's going to be more explanation given on this. But in a nutshell, there are transcendentalists who do very, very hard tapasya so that they have no sensual activity going on. They have withdrawn their senses and they go through a strict process of jnana, eliminating all of the temporary things. It is not this, not this, not this, not this. And they go through the whole worldly concept, trying to understand what is transcendence, what is Brahman. And finally, after becoming completely pure, and this is a process being described as taking koti shata vatsara, billions of years. And then they can only perceive the light emanating from his lotus toenails from far away. It means from the Brahma Jyoti, from Mahakalapur. And there is no perceptions. For example, if you are far away from the sun, you only see the sun as a light. You don't see the form of the sun. You don't see sunspots and prominences and solar flares and all these things. You'd need special equipment for that. It's just a really bright light that you can't bear to look at. And so for the yogis, they cannot see, and you certainly cannot see what's going on inside the sun. There could be people living inside there. They could have, a conversation or a tea party, and you wouldn't have any idea. All you can see is the blinding effulgence. So these yogis have no vision. It's impossible for them to see anything of Govindaji and his associates in Gokul. How will it be possible for jnanis and yogis to have darshan of Sri Govinda being served by his associates in Gokul when it is astonishing even for premi bhaktas such as Sri Narada? So here Srila Jiva Goswami is giving the logic. Even Narada Muni, if he gets darshan of Sri Govinda in Gokul being served by his associates, oh, this is very astonishing. How can ordinary jnanis and yogis who are not even devotees, how can they get darshan? Such jnanis and yogis cannot even enter that place. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1069 too, it has been stated, Chitram batayata rekena vapusha yugapat pratak griheshu dyastasahasram striya eva udavahat. On one occasion, that spectacle that Devarshi Narada beheld when he went to Dwarka filled him with wonder. Bhagavan Sri Krishna was marrying 16,000 beautiful young ladies in separate ceremonies, which were being conducted in 16,000 different royal palaces simultaneously. In one place, he was accepting the hand of the bride. In another, he was offering oblations in the fire sacrifice. Somewhere else, where the knot had already been tied, he was circumambulating the fire. And in all the other places, he was engaged in many different aspects of the marriage ritual. Upon seeing this, even the omniscient Sri Narada was astonished. So here there's a reference to the traditional Vedic vivaha, where there are many different ceremonies, but some of the important parts is pani grahana, where the hands come together, the husband holds the wife's hand, and then there is tying of the garments, and after the knot has been tied, then there is the saptapadi, circumambulating the fire and reciting vows. And then there is also offering oblations into the sacrificial fire and so many other things. And Narada saw that Krishna had manifested himself in 16,000 forms and in these 16,000 palaces. How did Narada see this, you say? Well, that is because Naradaji was given special powers by Krishna to see this. Because a yogi can, via siddhis, expand himself in up to 8 different forms, but they don't have the ability to operate independently. Krishna was able to act independently in every one of these 16,000 forms. So this was very astonishing for Narada Muni. Any jnani or yogi cannot see this. It is also stated in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad, Eko vashi sarvagah Krishna idya, eko pisan bahudha yo vibhati. Sri Krishna is the one supreme controller of all controllers, and he is all pervading. Although he is one, by the influence of his inconceivable potency, he manifests as incarnations who are his personal expansions, as the living entity who are his separated subjective portions, and as innumerable associates who are his bodily expansions. He is the incomparable and unsurpassed reality. So here there's a term being used. The living entities are called vibhinnamsha. And so the translation is given separated subjective portions. Ekopisan bahudha yo vibhati. So this is the meaning of the Ekopisan bahudha yo vibhati. So Krishna is the supreme worshipable. He is manifest as his associates who are expansions of his form, and he is also manifest as the jivas who are his vibhinnamsha. Jivas are considered amsha of Shakti. Now, that is another distinction. This is given in Vedanta, but we're not going to dive deep into Vedanta here. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, Atmeshwaro Tarkya Sahasra Shakti. Bhagavan alone is the soul of all. He is the controller of all, being equipped with unlimited, inconceivable powers that defy mundane reasoning. So Krishna is doing everything through his Shaktis. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. He has no work to do. He is not obligated to perform any work. But swabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. His potencies, his Shaktis have all the ability and the knowledge to act independently. This is a very, very important concept. Krishna's Swarup Shakti acts independently, has her own consciousness. And Krishna's Swarup Shakti is present in the form of his Hladini Shakti, Mahabhava Swarupini Shri Radha. If someone says that the one under the shelter of Krishna's Swarup Shakti can fall from their position, this is aparad to Swarup Shakti. It is aparad to Krishna. It is like Mayavadi philosophy, very offensive. In the Skanda Purana and the Mahabharata, it is said, Achintya kaloye bhava natam starkena yojayet. The substances and moods that lie beyond material nature have been called inconceivable. They are absolutely incomprehensible to the power of human intelligence, which is limited and full of material defects. So this is the achintya in achintya bheda bheda tattva. Achintya is very misunderstood. Sometimes people just waffle and they say, oh, it is inconceivable, simultaneous oneness and difference. And they say it in a way that, oh, it's inconceivable, so you can't think of it. No, it's inconceivable because you cannot speculate your way to understanding. Only by the grace of Sri Krishna, by the grace of Krishna's pure devotee, then there is a manifestation, there can be some realization manifested within the heart, and we are able to understand not by our independent chintana, our thinking and speculating. That's the meaning of achintya, achintya shakti. But by the grace of achintya shakti, we can receive realization. So Krishna is the complete tattva, purna tattva, and you cannot understand purna tattva by partial measures. Similarly, we find this statement in Vedanta Sutra, Tarka Pratishtanat. Logic is not the basis for understanding anything. Okay, now someone's going to say, well, what? We're using so much logic, so we should not be using logic? No, logic is not the basis for understanding just anything and everything because it is limited. That is because any conclusion established by logic today will be refuted tomorrow by another person with a new logic. Therefore, Vedanta Sutra also states, Shrutestu Shabdamulatvat. You should understand the inconceivable, supreme, personal, absolute truth only through the statements of Shruti because they are the teachings of Bhagavan. The statements of the Vedas are the fundamental evidence because they are free from the four defects of mistakes, illusion, defective perception, and the desire to cheat others. They are reliable statements received through the system of Guru Parampara. So there's a lot of philosophical concepts, and I'm trying to go through them fairly quickly because it's a little dense and it's just something that we can take, and we can take it in a way that is favorable for our bhakti. Because what is being said here first is that if you could do everything by logic and argument, then this is not the case because you could establish so many things by logic. We use logic and argument to establish things. For example, if we are explaining to a new person, there is the evidential part of Krishna consciousness. But there's also the experiential part. You should chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It should be heard from the lips of a pure devotee, and one should associate with devotees. One should take prasad, sevon mukehi jiwado, swayam eva spurati adaha. And then Krishna will reveal himself to you. You will feel some happiness. But the defects of the conditioned souls, these make a problem. We hear the instructions of the Shrutis. So this is what Srila Jiva Goswami is establishing here through Parampara. And in this regard, the commentary on Vedanta Sutra reasons that just as the influence of a gemstone, a mantra, or a potent medicinal herb is beyond the comprehension of the intelligence of a common person, so are the inherent powers of the absolute transcendence. In other words, if there is a powerful mantra or a gem, it will have an effect, whether we understand it or not. If there is a very powerful herb, it will have an effect, even if we don't understand how it is working. So the powers of the supreme absolute transcendence, these will have an effect, whether we understand or not. And this is also the meaning of achintya. The supernatural substance can only be known by the uncommon and divine power of undivided pure bhakti. These are the concluding words of Srila Jiva Goswami. So it's a very important thing. Uh, Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhakta. This is following what was said in the previous verse also. If we study all of the Vedas and try very hard to put all the Vedas, what to speak if we try to run everything through some bloody LLM? Oh, I tried to chat GPT my way. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't do that. It doesn't work because these things are simply simulations of the way humans with defects parse text. And it is just like by repeating the words that our Guru Maharaj has written, this doesn't mean that we have realized things. We have to practice under the guidance of pure Vaishnavas. Only then we will get some realization. Tasyaisha evaisha vrinvrinte tanum swam. And it is by the grace of the Supreme Person, by our practice of bhakti, then we will begin to understand something of the glories of Sri Govinda. So very, very profound statements. Now let us hear the Tatparya of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who will make this subject just a little bit more approachable. Only one who is tasting the transcendental mellows of pure bhakti is considered to have attained the lotus feet of Sri Govinda. Okay, so we are starting with this. Only someone who is tasting the transcendental mellows of pure bhakti. What is a verse by Srila Rupa Goswami that says this? Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati kriyatam yadikutopi labhyate tatra lalyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti sukritarna labhyate. You could do 10 million births of sukriti, of doing things that are favorable for development of bhakti. It won't give you bhakti. But if you have lolyam, if you have greed, then bhakti can arise in the heart. Lolyam must be there. Anugatya must be there. Association of sadhu must be there. These things are required in order for bhakti to arise within the heart. And especially one must have association of pure devotees. And this is tasting the transcendental mellows of pure bhakti. That means someone who has come to the stage of rati. So we are trying to get through these stages of anartha nivritti and finally come to the stage of ruchi, then asakti, and then uh, finally nishta, ruchi, asakti, and then rati or bhav. And then we will have attained the lotus feet of Sri Govinda. The practitioners of Ashtanga Yoga may absorb themselves in trance, and the greatest philosophers of the doctrine of monism may deliberate on matter and spirit, eliminating and rejecting all material phenomena one by one for millions of years. In the end, they may both attain the state of merging into the formless, impersonal spiritual radiance. This is also said by personified Vedas. Nibrita Bodun Manok Shadada Yoga Yujo Hridayan Munaya Upasate Tadarayo Piya Smaranat. The yogis and jnanis who do very hard tapasya, very hard austerities for a very long time, they achieve the same result as the demons who are slain by Bhagavan. They achieve entry into the Brahma Jyoti. This spiritual radiance, which is situated outside the transcendental abode, is nothing more than the reflected effulgence emanating from the small toenails of the lotus feet of Sri Govinda Dev in Goloka. It cannot even be considered to be the reflected effulgence of Sri Govinda's lotus feet. What Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, that this Brahma Jyoti, this is simply the reflected effulgence. It is not the effulgence itself. It is just the semblance of the effulgence. So something is shining through, but there is no uh, beauty of the form of the lotus feet, no beauty of the beautiful lotus toenails of Sri Govinda Dev. Only that light. And so someone may come and they try to merge into that light. Atma tries to enter into that light and merge into it, but they do not find a permanent situation there. Actually, the processes of merging into the absolute and dissolving the self in Brahman are both situated in the boundary area between the spiritual and material world. So this is the Tatastha region. This is that region where it is between the spiritual and material world. Unless one crosses beyond these two conceptions, one cannot realize the fascinating varieties of the served, the servant, and service in the transcendental world. So think about Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Gopkumar is crossing the place known as Mahakalapur. And in Mahakalapur, he sees there are many Atmas who are floating in the effulgence, and they appear to have lost their individuality because they are like little sparks within a blazing fire. The spark is very hot, the fire is very hot. Where does the spark end and the fire begin? But there is a separate existence. When the spark goes out of the fire, the spark sees, oh, look, there's a dark place. I'd like to go over there and shine and have a good time. Okay, boom, you go in the material world, and now your spark can become dimmed or even extinguished, such that no effulgence is visible. This is the condition of the Jivatma who is trying to merge within the Brahman in the region between the spiritual and material worlds. And there is no concept, served, servant, and service. This is the place of exchange of love. It is the exchange of loving service. And service is used in the sense here, like, you know, Guru Maharaj gave the translation devotional service for bhakti, but sometimes people misunderstand that and they take just the service part and they say, oh, what's my service? But it's devotional service. It is service done with love, service with a sense of sambandha, sense of connection. Oh, Krishna is my, and I have a sense of a relationship with Krishna. I want to have love for Shri Shri Radha Govinda. I want to serve them. I want to serve under the guidance of their liberated devotees. So these are all areas of loving exchange. One cannot perceive any of this loving exchange from the outside of the spiritual world. That is the point here. The conditions of merging into the absolute and dissolving the self in Brahman are not genuine happiness. They only mark the cessation of distressful experiences arising from a connection with the illusory energy. Sometimes the example is given, the happiness of Sayajimukti is like the happiness we get when we pass stool. Oh, I was constipated. Now I've had a really good dump. And oh, wow, it feels so good. I finally, but this is not a real happiness. This is just a relief of suffering. And so this is the example our acharyas have given in terms of the happiness of Sayuja Mukti. Although the absence of distress can be called happiness, to a certain extent it is meager and insignificant. Merely dispelling the suffering condition of material existence is not sufficient. The statement, Atyantika dukkha nirvitti, the ultimate goal of life is to end distress, is not correct. The ultimate attainment of the living entity is to be situated in his pure position of devotional service to Bhagavan. Prema pumarto mahan. This is prema, is the great goal of the human form of life. This is one of the five principal ideas of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachadupasana Vrajabadhu Vargena Yakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamedam Tatradaro Matpara. This has been stated by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Tridandipad. He has said that Sri Krishna, the son of the king of Raja, is our supreme worshipable deity. He is our Aradhya Bhagavan. His dham is Vrindavan, Tadhama Vrindavanam. Ramya Kachadupasanavradivadhuvargena. There is no more pleasing way to worship him, no more pleasing upasana. Upasana is more than just the concept of worship. Upasana means how we offer ourselves to our worshipable deity. There is no more pleasing form of upasana than that which is done by the Braja Gopis. Srimad Bhagavatam is our supreme and spotless authority, and prem is the goal of human life. So, to be situated in our pure, transcendental, constitutional position of devotional service to Bhagavan. This condition can only be achieved by the mercy of bhakti, which is inherently transcendental. It is never available by following a tasteless and troublesome path that is completely devoid of rasa. So this is referring especially to bhava bhakti, that bhakti which comes, there are 6 leaves that sprout from the creeper of bhakti. Kleshagni Shubhada. These are the first two. Kleshagni destroys suffering, and Shubhada bestows auspiciousness. Now 2 more leaves come. Moksha Laguta Krit Sudur Labha. This is referring to bhava bhakti. When we come to the stage of rati, it makes light, it derides the conception of moksha. And this is referring not just to Sayujya Mukti moksha, but to Sarupya, Salokya, Samipya, and Sarshti moksha, going to Vaikuntha. It derides even these types of mukti. And Sandrananda Visheshatma Sri Krishna Karshani Sa. It also is the concentrated form of bliss. Now it is referring to prem, and it attracts even Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna is attracted himself by the prem in the hearts of his pure devotees. So our goal, it is never possible that one will simply follow a Vaidhi Bhakti sadhana and one will achieve prem. Krishna will not be attracted by our following Vaidhi Bhakti. Krishna will say, oh, very good, I bless you. You should have prosperity, you should have peace, and eventually you can come to Vaikuntha. Very good, no problem. But prem will not come because prem is that bhakti by which Krishna himself becomes controlled. It is not given away. It is not given away. Muktim dadati karhachit sma na bhakti yogam. He sometimes gives mukti. Bhagavan can give mukti very easily, but he does not give bhakti yoga. But when he comes as Mahaprabhu, Shikshartam Eka Purusha Purana, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari, Kripam Budhira Yatamaham Prapadde. Oh, Mahaprabhu is so merciful because he is actually distributing prem. Here, take prem, take prem. And then Nityananda Prabhu, what is Nityananda Prabhu don't going? Oh, some people have run away from the flood of prem. I'm going to go there. I'm going to make a canal. I'm going to bring that. I'm going to drag them and immerse them in the flood of prem. So this is the Dhanya Kali Yuga where we have been born, and by the great fortune uh, we great fortune by the mercy of Krishna, we have gotten association with pure devotees, and we have gotten the opportunity to come in contact with this nectarian flood of Mahaprabhu's Kripa, by which there is a process where we can beg and weep and get the mercy, and prema bhakti will come in our hearts first in the form of the seed of bhakti, and as we water the seed by regular hearing, chanting, remembering, then it will blossom, it will develop these leaves, and finally it will come all the way up to Golok Vrindavan and will bear the fruit of prem. And this is only possible by the mercy of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu has also come in the form of Shri Guru. So this is actually so much philosophical topics are in this verse and its commentaries, but also so much ras and so much glorification of bhakti ras. So this is a good place to end. We'll continue next week with verse 35. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any questions? This is the time. Otherwise, we'll end. Go to Haribo.